I love you. Fuck off.
Yes, if you haven't guessed from that stunning impersonation of Carrie Fisher and his other guy's name,
Han
Solo,
Han
Harrison
Sol-
Ford.
Yeah.
Then yeah, we're doing the original trilogy, aren't we?
That's it from Family Guy. That one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh well, that stunning impersonation of I don't know her name. She was in Friends, wasn't she? The lady that plays Lois.
Oh yeah. I heard some typing.
Yeah, it's played by Alex Borstein, and she was also in Friends.
Who does she play in Friends?
She's like just got a one-parter in one episode, where like they're all meant to go to like a show together, and then for a multitude of reasons they don't, and Chandler is the only one that goes to the show, and he's sat in the front row, and Alex Borstein comes out and stands on stage and goes, "Why does nobody like me? Part 1," and then she tells this monologue like, so yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember that. Yeah,
I don't think Seth MacFarlane was in Friends.
No,
if he is, it's big if true.
Yeah, I don't believe he was, but yeah. So it's a parody of that scene where it's Lois and Peter Griffin, and Peter's in the sort of carbonite sort of bit, and Lois is like, "I love you," and he's like, "Fuck off," because Han Solo says "I know" in the film.
Yeah.
Which is just the dickish thing anyone could ever say. I mean, I love you so much. I know.
Unless you said thanks. That might be another one.
Cheers.
Okay. I love you. Alright.
Okay.
I'm trying to care about it.
I'm trying to get excited about it.
Isn't that also from Family Guy?
Yeah, it's when Stewie gets...
We're having very insular references today.
Stewie has two heads, like one's happy and one's
yeah.
sad, and they're like kissing each other. And the happy Stewie's like, "I want you to know that I love you. I'm trying to get excited about it."
Oh, good
hell.
stuff. If you haven't watched Family Guy, we're just spouting nonsense at this point.
Yeah, definitely. But, that's what you signed up for.
It is. You signed up for not. The podcast is called Shouting Into the Void. What did you really expect?
Yes.
Like high literature?
No, fuck that. I'm gonna spin the fabled wheel before we get on to Wars of Stars.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a weak one, wasn't it? I'll do it again. The yes/no game.
The yes/no game. Okay. As in, so you pick a thing, and somebody asks questions about it, and you say yes or no.
No, you're not allowed to say yes or no.
Oh, okay. Okay. Do you want to play the yes?
Yeah.
We used to have a game called the yes/no game, which essentially boiled down to a bell in a box. So, if the person being quizzed said yes or no, you had to smack the bell and go, "Ah, you said yes, you dickhead." So that was an exciting part of my childhood.
I thought you were going to say that. Yeah, we asked someone if they wanted to be hit in the face with a bell, and if they said yes, we would hit them anyway, and if they said no, we would hit them, and it was a win-win for everyone. I wasn't really sure where you were going to go with that.
No, I've got an obscure tragic story for us yet. I'm sure I'll find another
one.
Oh
yes, I don't know why a bell was needed for that game. Couldn't you have just clapped your hands or something?
Well, you'd certainly think, wouldn't you?
But anyway, let's have a wee game. So,
okay.
Do you want to go first, or?
I don't. Sorry, hang on. Run me through the rules again. Am I supposed to think of a thing and then you try to guess the thing?
No. Oh my god. Okay, so one of us asks the other one questions.
Right.
And you can respond, but you can't say yes or no.
Okay. I'll be the yes or no man.
Wait, so what does that mean? Wait.
I'll be the one that doesn't say yes or no.
All right. Okay. Okay. Right. Are you ready?
I'm ready when you are.
Okay. How you doing, Lewis? Are you all right?
I'm well, thank you. I burned my finger yesterday as I was making coffee, but aside from that, I'm good.
Oh, really? What type of coffee was it?
It was coffee. It was
Just coffee?
Colombian beans that I ground into a fine powder, and then brewed in my AeroPress, and then dropped on the counter and the cupboards and myself, and much pain was had by all.
Oh, I mean that's rubbish, isn't it?
It is. Oh, I thought through that cunning
Shit!
ruse.
Have you played
I'm
this
too
before?
busy thinking for myself.
Have you played this before?
I have.
That was close. That was a close one, wasn't it?
'Twas.
Right. Yeah, it's really only fun when you've got stupid people doing it. So, yeah, but I used to get played that all the time, and I would always lose because
Why was that?
Because I'm feeble-minded, Lewis, and I would just get tricked eventually. Because the thing is that you don't actually stop the game. So when it's been left for ages, my dad or whoever's doing it will just say, so you all right back there? Yeah, I'm fine. Ah, shit! Like that, so... And then he would impugn me for swearing.
So do I have to make some sort of formal declaration that the game is over? Or for this entire podcast?
I have an idea. Yeah, let's see if you can not say yes or no throughout the entire podcast.
Okay, I will do exactly that.
Will you?
I will.
Oh, you saw through that one again. But
I did. Well, I'm just so good.
Yep. But have you got any bullshit?
I don't have much bullshit aside from the fact I burned my finger and I had it on an ice pack for 6 hours.
Damn.
It's like a whole thing. I mean, it was just coffee. It's not that bad.
Yeah. I mean, we could always just have a wee short bullshit because we've got a lot to talk about. If that's all right.
I'm happy with it. I'm happy with a short bullshit. If you would not like a long coiled bullshit, then that's okay.
Yeah. Jeez, why'd you make it sound like shit?
Because we use the word shit in the title of the bullshit.
Oh yeah, so we do, don't we? That's right. I'm just treading water here, Lewis. I'm just trying to see what I can get away with. Just try to see what I can make you say. That means see if I can.
Well, that's very exciting, I have to say.
Yes,
quality
content.
Well, extremely. I tell you what I have been doing recently. I've been playing a lot of video games by design, not by accident. But I bought an SD card for my Nintendo Switch, of which I have one of the lights. It's like a blue one, and it's all one thing.
Uh-huh.
I like it. It's good. It's little, and it plays games. I bought Stardew Valley, which is really good. I have a little farm. I have a cat on the farm whose name is Toast. So that's all exciting. I'm quite enjoying it. I keep giving people gifts and they hate it. It's it's like there's this mechanic in the game where to get people to like you, you have to either do them favors. Like they'll send you a letter with a favor on it that says, I need some rhubarb or whatever for this recipe I'm making. Can you grow me some? Then you'll go to the shop and get rhubarb seeds and grow it and take it to them. And that's the idea. Or you can just rock up at their house with a random gift and give them the gift.
And you just
rock
up?
It's all very... well, you can rock up. But the thing that gets me is I went from playing Animal Crossing quite a bit, because that's the new one came out, Animal Crossing New Horizons, and I was playing that a bit, and all of the people on your island are like, we love you so much. You are literally the best person to ever exist in the universe.
Aww.
You are incredible. And that's fantastic, obviously. But then on Stardew Valley, you give someone a big chunk of gold or something, and they're like, well, this is horrid.
Wow.
And then they take it anyway. And you're like, well, hang on a second. What? Because I figured gold has got to be a pretty safe bet for what people will want as a gift. Because at the worst case scenario, they can just sell it. And it'll be a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then I give them a big bar of gold, and they go, oh, well, it's the thought that counts, I suppose.
I mean, is it possible to engage in embittered slaughter if they don't accept your gift?
No, I don't think you can. I don't think you can kill everybody in your Stardew Valley village. I don't think that's I don't think that's a mechanic in the game. Although I do have chickens, which I haven't tried to kill. They just kind of lay eggs and I sell the eggs. Yes. Well, they're called Janet, not Janet, definitely not Janet, and maybe Janet.
Wow, so one chicken has a name and the others are revolving their identities around the other chicken. They must fucking hate Janet. You just said yes!
I did. I also said no about slaughtering the villagers.
Oh, shit. Well, that was quick.
Anticlimactic, yeah.
I didn't even get you to do it. You did it. You did it by yourself. Oh, God. Well, that was quick, folks. Hope you enjoyed that one.
It was. I'll tell you what else I've been playing. Here we go. It's fucking video game corner this week. I've been playing BioShock, the first one.
Oh.
Are you aware of BioShock, the first one?
Yes, it's very, very good. Are you doing you're doing the campaign, aren't you?
I am, yeah. I'm making my way through it incredibly slowly. I tried to play through it with headphones on, but like the distant screams were becoming a bit too intense to quite stomach for long periods of time.
Yeah.
So I play it and it's good. You walk into a room and there's a bloke who's like, "I'm the best plastic surgeon in the world, and you're fat." And it's like, oh, Jesus Christ. And then there's somebody else jumps out of a room and says, "I'm also a good plastic surgeon, and you're bloody ugly." And then he throws a grenade at you, and you use your telekinesis powers to throw it back at him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really good.
Without spoiling anything, the BioShock story is one of the best stories of a video game I've ever played.
Ooh.
So you've got that to look forward to. You're going to be like, what the fuck?
I see. I'm very excited. No, I am enjoying it. I mean, I've played like an hour. I haven't played very much
yeah,
of it.
you've got a bit more to go.
Yeah, but it is really good. It's like it's people. It seems like they sort of had a cool concept and then they just kind of ran with it.
Yeah.
Okay, what if we had an underwater city? Okay, now let's just run with this and take it to the most ridiculous degree we possibly can.
Definitely.
And they have done, which is lovely.
It certainly sounds it. But yeah, I don't have any more. I don't have any more nuggets.
Aside from just listing things I've done, I don't have any more nuggets. I read a book. Well, I haven't finished the book. I've read some of a book.
What?
Is that good? Is that good content?
What book?
It's called The Rig.
The Rig.
I've forgotten what the name of the author is.
Let me Google it really quickly. Yeah, it's like not post-apocalyptic as such, but like
Have you spoken about this before?
I have done, yeah, very briefly.
I was getting deja vu there.
Yeah, because one of the planets is called Bleak. I thought, oh yeah, Dan will appreciate
shit, yeah, that's right. You, I remember you saying about that.
Here we go. Humanity is spread across many planets connected by the song, which is the internet, the information superhighway, and held together by
Afterlife.
It's the idea is that like they found
The
this
TV
planet
show
where
by
there's-
Ricky Gervais.
No, they found this planet with like these chemicals in the core of the planet where if you use these chemicals within these special coffins, then it'll keep somebody in sort of suspended animation until whatever disease they have is curable by, at that point, modern technology.
Yeah.
It's like the idea of cryogenically freezing someone, but with the core of a planet instead of some ice or something.
Yeah.
And it's really good. It's just dead good sci-fi. There's like a couple of stories happening simultaneously, and I'm engaged with all of them, which is really good. I appreciate that in a good bit of sci-fi. And speaking about sci-fi, good or bad, how about we talk about Star Wars?
That's a good idea. I'm going to read The Rig now because you've mentioned it twice. So
Yeah, it's got about 600 pages. Right, chunky boy.
I'm gonna give that chunky boy a read.
I picked it up in the bookshop because it looked pretty, and I thought, well, the blurb looks a bit crap, but maybe it'll be all right. Now I'm reading it, and it's dead good.
It's pretty good. Yeah, excellent. Give The Rig a read, everyone, if you've got a wee bit of time. Obviously, listen to us first, but when you're done with that,
But after you've done that, after you've listened to us, rate and review us, and subscribe to us and follow us, and then after you've done that, you can tell 5 friends, and then after you've done that, you can read The Rig.
once you give up your entire life for our benefit, then you can fucking read The Rig, okay?
Yeah, that's how that works.
No exceptions, okay? But anyway, we've got a monumental task ahead of us. So, as we said last week, we're going to do all the Star Wars trilogies. And Lewis, who has never seen Star Wars, I'm very curious to hear what he's going to say. But before we do that, Star Wars, the original trilogy, A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, was written and directed by George Lucas, all three of them. And it is starring Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, James Earl Jones, Billy D. Williams, and Ian McDiarmid.
Indeed it was.
And loads of others.
Have you got an opening statement?
I do. The trilogy that defined millions of childhoods, mine included, a revolutionary set of films with unforgettable characters, one of the biggest plot twists of all time, and the start of a galaxy with lore for years to sieve through.
Indeed. My opening statement is, so, Mark Hamill was quite important then. See what I did there? I tied it back to the Mandalorian episode. God, I'm bloody clever. Hey. My actual opening statement, if you want one, is it was some fantasy stories in space.
Yep. Right.
And that's the end of my opening statement. Sorry,
you're not
let's
wrong.
get on to the CRQs.
You're not wrong.
Well, yeah. Onto the CRQs. Have you got like pages and pages and pages of notes?
And I've got 2 pages of notes.
I have 6 questions, and none of them are very good. So,
okay, shit. Here we go.
Woo! Right. I would like to start off with, I think, might be perhaps perhaps my second most controversial opinion ever.
Right.
My second most controversial opinion is, these films are all right.
Yeah.
They're not great. They're not crap. They're just sort of all right. People do stuff, and I'm supposed to care about them. I see that that's good. And from that point onwards, I don't really care that much.
Oh, damn.
Don't get me wrong. I appreciate that. Okay, right. Here's my sort of point I'm coming to. These films are kind of gorgeous. Like, the Death Star is beautiful iconography. The X-Wings, the TIE Fighters, all of it is utterly, utterly gorgeous.
Yeah.
Just from sort of concept to what I can imagine was like beautiful concept art. And then I feel like somebody, presumably George Lucas, sort of stitched it all together and thought, right, now I've got to write a script. And yeah, great, you can do that, and you can create this mythology of the Skywalker family and all that. And yeah, brilliant. But on the same level, I'm just not that invested. I know that these films are utterly adored by a huge number of people worldwide. But I feel like maybe this is a personal thing. I don't really like revolution stories that much. Like, the thing I enjoyed about, for example, the Hunger Games stories, which are, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to directly compare the Hunger Games and Star Wars, but the thing I enjoyed about the Hunger Games being sort of a revolutionary story was that it was like a character study of people in a situation that happened to be a revolution.
Yeah.
Whereas this feels like, I don't know, it feels more formal almost, more sort of like it's reporting the events of a revolution to me. Does that make any kind of sense?
I know what you mean. I've got to say, if I wasn't like introduced to Star Wars, like when I was very young, I have a feeling I wouldn't like it as much.
Yeah.
Because I think it's less on their own. These films are like, as you say, they're all right. You know, I wouldn't say that they're cinematic masterpiece. I mean, Empire Strikes Back is a pretty fucking good film, but it's more the sort of mythology that surrounds it. You know, because when people think of Star Wars, they think of the lightsaber battles and the space battles. They don't think about the sort of plot structure and the sort of tenability of the original 3 films, which is you know probably a flaw in itself, because you should always be able to critique the things that started you onto it. But no, I agree with you. I think they're all right films, but it's somehow I'm still incredibly invested. You know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's the thing I do keep coming back to is I've forgotten where I was going with that, so I'm going to go with something slightly different. There are lots of different currencies in the Star Wars universe, which makes sense. But I feel like... Right, you know how Stephen Moffat does that thing where he writes a story and then he includes a link to something, but the link, when you actually analyse it, doesn't make much sense?
Yeah.
I feel like that happens a lot in Star Wars. Do you know what I mean?
Like, as in, you look at, say, Jabba the Hutt, and you're like, well, he ain't got any legs, he's a big slug man. You're like, okay, great, he's a big slug man. So why does he want, like, Princess Leia around? Has he got some kind of slug penis that I can't see? What's going on here? And you start to think about, right, well, why are there so many currencies? If every currency is backed up by an innate core value, like how the pound sterling was traditionally backed up by the price of gold, which is an inherently scarce material.
Yeah.
Well, how are there so many different currencies, and how do they relate to each other? I know I'm getting bogged down in the parts of the story that you're not supposed to get bogged down in.
Yeah.
I can't help but ask these questions as I'm watching it.
No, I mean that. It's
This is what I was going for. It's I enjoy being challenged by what I'm watching or reading or playing or whatever it might be. Like I was talking just now about BioShock, and the reason I appreciate that is because it's challenging my worldview. It's challenging the way I view the world, and I think we should have a fair and equitable society. It's challenging that by saying, well, this was an attempted utopia in which the opposite of what you think was the case.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
But in this world, it's very sort of like, yeah, these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. The Empire is 100% bad guys. Every stormtrooper, bad guy. Every single general or admiral or whatever, bad guy. Darth Vader, bad guy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, Darth Vader, he takes his helmet off and becomes a good guy. But, did you see what I'm getting at?
No, I completely agree. Like, that is what I don't like about the Star Wars universe. I really wish that they would go into sort of more sort of grey territory, like they do with the Mandalorian, where it's like, it's not just evil, good. It's like, no, it's ideologies and sort of belief systems that are driving people, and these ideologies can make them do good and bad things, which is far more interesting than just a sort of moralistic sort of good versus bad kind of thing.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, that's precisely what I loved about The Mandalorian, is that it's not about objective good or objective bad, it's about moral codes.
Yeah.
And it's the same idea. This is a bit of a leap, but bear with me. In, the whole alignment chart thing of true neutral or chaotic neutral or whatever, that originally comes from Dungeons and Dragons.
It certainly
and
does.
I have not played much Dungeons and Dragons in my life, if any, but I know enough about Dungeons and Dragons to know that there is not, as much as this alignment chart presents the idea that there's an objective good in the world, the game sort of presents the idea of, well, maybe there's not an objective good, but everybody has sort of a moral good tied to their upbringing.
Yeah.
And that's so, like, there's situations where things would be considered chaotic evil or something, say, when in fact they are objectively, they're just kind of a lawful action, so other people would consider them, like, positive, good actions, when in fact they are objectively perhaps not.
Yeah.
Am I making any kind of sense? I feel like I'm rambling
No, you are.
About ethics.
I mean, like, when it comes to deciphering like, what motivates someone, it's like, no one is ever going to say because I'm evil. Do you know what I mean? Ever. Like, that just doesn't happen.
Emperor Palpatine has a bloody good go, doesn't he? That's
kind of his thing. I am bloody evil.
I mean, you would say power, wouldn't you? That would be what sort of drives him, and like, maybe like knowledge. But the fact that isn't like explored as much, like Star Wars, has a huge amount of lore after these three films. It has comics, it has an expanded universe where the characters become a lot more fucking interesting in the sort of other media that they're portrayed in.
Yeah.
Like Emperor Palpatine has, like, you hear about his backstory, you hear about how he was sort of brought up. He was a bit of a social outcast, and he really enjoyed like knowledge, and like it's far more interesting than just I'm in a cloak and
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But
I do know. Yeah,
it's too easy. It's really easy.
yeah, I know what you mean. It's
and I'm not trying like any
an example of objective sort of moral good versus evil that is sort of widely accepted to be good, because obviously there's Star Wars, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
I can't think of any sort of things that popped to mind other than those two.
It's just I don't like any Star Wars fans that are listening. I don't want you to think that I don't like. I've picked up these films. I really like these films, but I just don't agree with the sort of like moral presuppositions that you're meant to sort of believe in going in. Lord of the Rings is exactly the same. I mean, Lord of the Rings is like a Christian sort of myth. Like, Tolkien wrote those stories because, like, England didn't have, like, a mythology, and he wanted to, like, create one, and there is, like, an all-powerful deity that's very good, and, you know, straying from that is ultimately, in his view, evil, which I don't believe in that, but it's a great sort of story about very sort of complicated goings on. There's screeds and screeds of history. That's what I'm more interested in than the sort of ethics side of it.
That's my experience with a lot of the Fallout games.
Yeah.
They are fantastic games to read a wiki about.
I have no interest. I tried to play Fallout 3, and I got to Megaton, and I thought, well, what's the fucking point in this? I don't really care either way. And that was that. And then I look online, and I watched, like, H-Bomber Guys probably released about 5 or 6 hours of footage about various Fallout games. But, like, the snippets of that I've watched, I find those videos fascinating.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh, well, what if people were locked in a vault for 100 years with a set of obscure rules? I think that's an objectively interesting thing.
Definitely.
And I just think it's a shame not to explore that. Especially in a world where you've got big fuck-off spaceships that can blow up planets. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, what you want to know what drives, like, a sort of group of people to think that that's absolutely fine, and that there's no like, sort of qualms about that. I mean, like, Anakin Skywalker, we'll get into the prequels, right? But his motivations for becoming Darth Vader are fucking dog shit. Like, really. I mean, some of the groundwork is there, and it could be really well explored, but we'll get into that. But, like, his redemption at the end does not feel earned, like, at all. I mean, he has, like, there's stuff that you don't see, but literally it's been 20 years since he became Darth Vader when A New Hope happens, and during that time, the amount of shit that he has done is, like, fucking, like, unbelievable. The amount of stuff that he's done, and with the help of, you know, these Imperials, he's decimated, like, an entire planet. So he's committed genocide, you know, and yeah, but, you know, he kills Palpatine and all that, and that's fine. But then he gets to become a Force ghost at the end of the film, which is like, okay. And there's lore about that as well. It's actually it's a guy called. I'm really getting into the lore now, but there's a guy called Qui-Gon Jinn, right? Who
that's Liam Neeson, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. And
Yeah,
he's the
I've
one.
watched, yeah.
Yeah, well, he's the one who discovers how to do that, and he sort of passes it on to, like, Obi-Wan and Yoda through, like, communication. So Darth Vader didn't fucking know how to become a Force ghost. So why he's a Force ghost, and why it's Hayden Christensen as his young self, that's another thing. George Lucas changed the films so often. He retconned so much in it. It used to just be, like, Darth Vader, but, like, with, like, just his hair back, and, like, it was the old guy at the end where he takes his mask off. Do you know what I mean? And in, like, Jedi robes, which is fine. But if you've never seen the prequels and you see Hayden Christensen pop up, you're going to be like, who the fuck's that? Who's that person? Is that meant to be Anakin? I don't fucking know who's that.
Yeah.
So it's a bit weird.
That's a really good point. I hadn't even considered that. I just, well, like I say, I didn't even consider it. That is weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind a retcon, but there's a time and a place.
Yeah.
I think I don't mind. I'd prefer it like a soft reboot, if that makes sense. Like, the best example I can give is at the start of that Doctor Who series with Bill in it. At the start of that series, when the Doctor is lecturing at a university, that feels like a very soft reboot. You've sort of gently been pushed into, this is a slightly different setup. It's a slightly different world. Nothing has been overwritten, but it's a slightly different world. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like that's what I'd enjoy in a Star Wars universe.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everything that I've said has already been said by, like, Star Wars fans, and, like, I think most Star Wars fans know that if you, like, nitpick the films, you're not going to enjoy it. You know?
Yeah.
It's like these three films are not the sort of, like, reason that they're the start of it, But most people that are into Star Wars are into like the sort of lore of it, and into sort of like, you know, like playing with toys or playing Battlefront or like just enjoying it with our pals. That's what Star Wars is really about. For me anyway.
Speaking of playing with toys, did you have, when you were a kid, they were called Tactics? Did you have them?
No.
I had some like Jedis that had lightsabers that were Tactics.
There were like little people, like a little model of Ewan McGregor on like a little sort of circular thing that had like little wheels on the bottom.
Yeah.
And you'd push it along and it'd go click, 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 and it'd move.
Like different pieces had different amounts of movement that they could do.
Yeah.
So
You'd say, oh, this has 3 clicks, would be like, I don't know, 3 centimeters or whatever, and it'd go click, 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 and you've moved it forwards however much. And then you'd be able to like, you know those cars that you can like pull back and then let go and they shoot off in the other direction?
Yeah, I know what you
It
mean.
was sort of like that. It was like a spring-loaded Jedi. So you'd sort of pull the lightsaber back, and you'd let go, and it'd sort of spring round, and the lightsaber would hit like another one of the Tactics figures.
Yeah.
That just suddenly burst into my head. It's barely about Star Wars, but if anybody out there knows what a Tactics are,
you will just have had a beautiful hit of nostalgia.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that like Star Wars is more about the sort of playing aspect of it and sort of and just enjoying the universe as it is. Let's sort of more like a sandbox kind of thing. For a long time, it was barely. I'd watch the films and I'd watch them over and over again. I knew them off by heart, but for a long time, it was the Lego games that really defined Star Wars for me. I could like before they had Lego characters talk in these games, I could give you every grunt that a Star Wars character did. Because have you ever played a Lego game where they just sort of go,
I have, yeah,
like that? It's like
it's one of my earliest video game memories. Was I played through Lego Batman on the Nintendo DS.
Yeah.
I remember being in like a waiting room or something for hours and hours playing Lego Batman. Yeah, and I think I did Lego Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And I had Lego Marvel superheroes or something on my Xbox.
Oh, that was a
love
good
the
game.
Lego games, mate. They're really good.
They're just so fun, you know.
They are.
They're not you know, they don't. That's what Star Wars is. It's like it's not really meant to be about sort of questioning your worldview and stuff like that. It's really just like, I don't want to say, because it does have the capacity to be like, there are other shows in Star Wars like The Mandalorian and like The Clone Wars that's really good that sort of makes you go, oh shit, what are the Jedi doing? Jesus Christ, are these good guys or bad? It's like, and I'm all for that, but like the essence of it is more about sort of like enjoying the universe that's been created for you, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I suppose I can reconcile with that. Yeah, it's I don't know what I was going to say then, but yeah,
I do understand that point you're making.
I have some nitpicks that Star Wars fans will know about.
Okay, hit me.
Princess Leia changes her accent.
I
A few times.
Didn't notice.
She starts off American, and then when she speaks to Grand Moff Tarkin, she just speaks in an English accent for some reason.
That's a bit of a weird one.
Yeah.
How did Carrie Fisher speak? She played Angela in
Yeah,
Family Guy,
just her American accent, but then she
Yeah.
just sort of went, the more you tighten your grip, Tarkin, the more systems will slip through your fingers. It's like, what? Why is she speaking like that? Obi-Wan Kenobi pretends that he doesn't know about Princess Leia being Luke's sister, when he definitely fucking does, because it was him that dropped them off when they were young, which we'll get into.
I suppose he was old. Alec Guinness was quite old. Maybe he forgot.
I mean, okay, but that's really shit.
It's really shit. Yeah,
Yeah, he's maybe this big
yeah.
player in the universe, and I forgot about that. Vader and Obi-Wan's fight. You'll notice that every other lightsaber fight in Star Wars is significantly more impressive than the sort of jolted sort of stick waving that you see in that scene. But yeah, you know.
One of my favourite lightsaber facts. It's a bit of a weird one, but when they were filming the prequels, I think it was
Ewan McGregor, he would go
and he would make the noises himself as he was like swinging the stick about.
Yeah.
And they had to remove that in post
Because they kept telling him, "Sorry, can you stop that, please?" And he kept just accidentally keeping on doing it. So in the end, they were just like, "Fuck it, just stop telling him, and we'll just take it out in post and put actual noises in."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't do that if you were in a Star Wars film?
Yeah.
I'd be going like that, and they'd be like, Danny, stop. Please stop, or we'll have to get someone else.
I tell you what is a much better sound in The Mandalorian than in these films is the lightsaber turning on sound.
Yeah.
When Ahsoka Tano's turning on her lightsabers, it's like, oh, that sounds like a really cool, like, almost like a vintage motorbike crossed with a ray gun. And that's what it sounds like. And I'm like, oh, that's a really cool noise. And then in these films, I'm like, oh,
He just kind of turned it on.
that's
Definitely.
good, I suppose.
I think that the lightsaber battle in Empire Strikes Back is really fucking good between Luke and Darth Vader. That you can tell, like, they've obviously got someone in to train the two of them. Do you know what I mean? It's like just completely what you would expect from like a lightsaber battle. So I can't be too annoyed about Vader and Obi-Wan's one. It's kind of insane how much Tatooine plays a role in the galaxy. Because we'll get into the prequels, but Anakin is from Tatooine.
Okay.
And that's why Obi-Wan takes him back there. The Star Destroyer that's shooting at the wee ship just happens to be over Tatooine, where both Luke and Anakin are from. And imagine it was like a different, just sort of deserted planet. Like, the events would just never have happened, whatever. Do you know what I mean?
That's a good point, yeah.
It's really
It's
cool.
just
It's really coincidental that the sun.
if random chance is a big part of your mythos, then maybe you need to take a look at the script.
Yeah, maybe they'll say. Maybe it would be like, oh, it's the Force that's doing that. I'm still fucking confused about the Force, despite being like a Star Wars fan. Like,
Yes, I'm aware of the concept of midichlorians.
Holy
I'm
shit.
aware that people get very angry about this.
Yeah.
I'm aware that it was just sort of a thing that you could do the Force, maybe.
And then the prequels came out, and Liam
Henson, that's not his name.
No,
what's
Neeson.
his fucking name? Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Was like, oh, the midichlorians, bloody hell. And then everybody got very angry about that.
Yeah,
Did I more or less take the measure of it there?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I get annoyed by it, because it seemed like a sort of we're actually trying to explain the forces in which how the universe is sort of governed, which I'm not against. But like, it was just sort of completely out of nowhere. Midichlorians, everyone's got them. The higher you've got, the more powerful you are in this world. But
Which
yeah,
is a bit weird, because then that implies it's like, is the Force sort of predetermining the midichlorian count of everybody? Is it a genetic thing?
yeah. I mean, we'll get into the prequels. Anakin doesn't have a dad, so he's literally a miracle child. He's like the virgin birth. So there's so many parallels. So I've got to say this now, right? I know we're only in the original trilogy, right? But as we get to the sequels, there's a character called Rey.
Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Ridley. Yep, Daisy Ridley's a great actor. And Rey got a lot of criticism because she didn't have much characterization, and she was very overpowered, and she didn't have a lot of training. Okay, and the term Mary Sue was used, which I have mixed feelings on, because that talks about a female protagonist that doesn't really have any character traits, and a lot of it was used just to be like sexist. There's no like getting around that, and people will say no, I'm not. Like there were genuinely a lot of people that just didn't like the fact that it was just, you know, that there's a woman as a protagonist of Star Wars, right? But Anakin Skywalker is the biggest Mary Sue of all fucking time. Okay, he's the virgin birth, right? And he is like the highest midichlorian count ever, and yet like he doesn't get any sort of shit for that. Do you know what I mean? So I just need to sort of have that said out there, because
on the record, as it were.
Yeah, some Star Wars fans treat the prequels and the original trilogy as if they're, we can't ever look at them. Do you know what I mean? The sequels are just so shit compared to the... Yeah, but... So there's a bit of a hypocrisy there, but...
Well, that I mean, I know virtually nothing about any of these things, but yeah, that sounds a bit weird.
Yeah, but we'll get to that.
High-level criticism from Shouting into the Void.
Yeah, that sounds a bit weird, doesn't it?
It's a bit weird, that one. But,
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Why is Grogu here, and why is he so old?
Oh my god.
I just wanted to
Try and destroy your soul just a little
That's
bit.
That's a question my dad would ask. He's like, what's Baby Yoda doing all grown up?
I've got a question.
Why is Jabba evolved like that? What is the evolutionary advantage to, for example, not having legs and being a massive slug?
Yeah, the funny thing is, he's from Tatooine. So
Is he the native species of Tatooine?
I don't know if he's he lives in Tatooine. That's where his palace is. So I don't know whether he evolved in Tatooine. He can't have done. It's literally just a fucking sand planet. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what?
Maybe it's like the is a sandworm from Dune?
Where is Jabba the Hutt from? Yeah, but I mean, he's like a big slug.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
He
from
doesn't look
Tatooine.
like he has very very sand resistant skin, does he? He looks like a good sort of sandstorm would finish him off.
Yeah, he can't fucking move. He just sort of shimmies along. Yeah, but I don't know. There's a lot of sort of questionable evolution in this universe. But
my sort of right is I'm going to do some nitpicking now. Are you ready?
Yep.
Some nitpicking of things like desert planets,
Mm-hmm.
forest moons.
Frozen worlds.
Yeah.
The entire point of planets is that they are not all the same. Surely,
No.
to God, if Earth tells us anything, it's that you can have both a world that has some ice, some desert, some forests. I don't like that very much.
Yeah.
How there are planets that are just all desert.
I mean, to be fair, it's like these planets are meant to be look really remote, and that's the sort of formula that they stick to throughout the trilogy, which is a bit sort of tiresome. But like, you'll see in the prequels that, oh shit, there's like an actual galaxy with like actual goings on. A disclaimer that I think should be put out about the original trilogy: I think it has the right amount of politics and space fighting, whereas politics is in, I mean, like, sort of world building to know what's going on in the actual world. The prequels has too much fucking politics, where it's like there's a lot of fucking world building,
A while ago, I tried to watch Star Wars, and I got as far as watching The Phantom Menace. And I remember watching the opening crawl, and I was just thinking, I don't understand or care about any of these things.
Yeah.
They're talking about trade embargoes and tax.
Yeah, I mean,
What the fuck is this?
the original trilogy just hooks you because it's literally a sort of galactic civil war versus freedom versus tyranny. Do you know what I mean? That's a good sort of blueprint for a story. But if you're gonna start your trilogy with a fucking trade embargo, with it's like Jesus Christ. Yeah, so
Maybe there were some accountants in the cinema opening night of Phantom Menace, and they were going,
yes, look at this, Harry.
Perfect.
A film for us at last.
A film that centres around trade embargoes.
That is literally the entire film. It is literally like the Republic trying to get around this trade thing, and there's so much fucking politics in it. It's really weird. But I would say that the sequels has nowhere near enough politics, like nowhere near enough. Because we'll get to that. But
I would like to say that Leia killing Jabba with her chains is just cool as fuck.
yeah,
and Carrie Fisher was cool as fuck.
If I remember reading, because she struggled with mental health, I think, throughout her whole life, and she just was
Famously very open about it and was very honest about, like, No, I have depression, and I'm bipolar, and she was very open and honest about it, and I just think she was really awesome.
Yeah.
And one of her favourite things she ever said, one of my favourite things she ever said, more accurately, was she was talking about like body image and body image standards in Hollywood and stuff.
Yeah.
And she said, my least favourite thing, or I think it was her least favourite thing,
My least favourite thing about being a woman in Hollywood was that somehow a lot of men's both dream and worst fear involved me in a bikini. And I think that was like just a very apt, very well said statement. I remember reading it thinking, oh, that's just like a really good statement. I really like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I have mixed feelings on the whole sort of bikini thing.
Right?
But the fact that she got to if it was literally like she was in a golden bikini and then like she just left with like Han Solo and Luke, like I would be pretty like, what the fuck? That's just you just clearly want to see Carrie Fisher in a fucking bikini. It does not serve the story at all. But the fact that she got to like kill the person that sort of put her in that position, like makes it a bit
sort of power and empowerment. I mean, I'm
not the person that should be talking about this. But
No.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
but it's just I'm very sort of cautious when that sort of shit happens. It's like, are you doing that because it's a good sort of story beat and it makes sense for the character, or are you just being a creepy bastard, George? Eh?
yes.
Well, there is the thing about like, well, why did Alfred Hitchcock kill so many pretty blonde women in all of his films? Why was that a constant thing he did? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because look, throughout the other two films, she's not like a sort of passive player in the world. She's very, active. Like she becomes the leader of the rebellion essentially. Do you know what I mean? She's a very sort of well developed, strong sort of character. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
A good strong, yeah. I mean, bloody Carrie Fisher was great, man.
She's really. What are you doing? Somebody has to save our skins. It's like that is just fucking. That's a great line. But yeah.
Anyway, have you got any other CRQs?
I'm just sieving through my scribbles, my ranting scribbles.
I have a question.
Go on.
Why build a Death Star at all, and B, another Death Star?
Yeah.
If the first one went so terribly wrong, why build another?
Okay.
Who thought that was a good idea?
Okay.
Where are they getting all of this metal?
Okay, so the first Death Star, very good idea, I think. Very interesting. I think
interesting idea. A good idea is
It's a bit debatable.
well, the way
from the...
if you watch it in like, the order of like, sort of it makes so much sense when you watch the prequels because like the entire reason that the sort of Republic fell was a sort of political commentary on like bureaucracy and corruption and not being able to get stuff done because of like a bloated sort of governmental system, which I really like. I wish they'd done a bit more of that, without sort of going into fucking trade deficits and trade embargoes and shit. But so the idea that Emperor Palpatine's solution is, we're not going to have bureaucracy anymore. I'm just going to build a fuck off massive death machine, and you're going to do what I say, or I'm going to blow you up. That's like that is classic sort of like tyrannical way of thinking right there, which happens in real life. It's like these huge big deterrents that are just like, we ignore sort of diplomacy and all that, and we just have nukes, and that'll definitely solve all the problems. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So from that perspective, I really like it. There's a film called Rogue One that sort of explains the plot hole of like the Death Star having like an exact point where you can shoot and it blows up the entire station. And they explain that.
Explain that away?
Say that again?
How does it explain that away?
Well, it explains that there's a guy called Galen who basically sort of gets taken because he's a really good scientist, and his daughter joins the rebellion and has to find him and stuff like that. And he reveals that because he was the architect of it, he laid a trap to destroy the entire station.
It's like a deliberate flaw.
Yeah, and even then, the film has got fucking problems. So it seems like a really convoluted way to explain that plot hole away. Okay, but there it is. That's what it is. But then they go and they think, okay, we've had a Death Star. What are we gonna do now? What are we gonna... let's build another one, but make it bigger. And like, there's instead of a small, very tiny hole, let's have a massive, gaping, fucking big hole at the side, where like a fucking cruiser could get in.
Yeah.
And they tried to make it, it's like, oh, Emperor Palpatine did that to sort of lure them in and then act it. It's like, yeah, okay, fine, but that's really fucking stupid. And it's lazy. It's really lazy.
Yeah, it is lazy. It's just lazy storytelling is what it feels like.
But yeah, so that's why.
Yeah, it's certainly an idea. Certainly a way of conducting business, which doesn't make much sense.
I will say that these films have flaws, like any films. You know, they're not the best films in the world, but they hold a sort of special place for every Star Wars fan. But the effects, holy shit, the effects still hold up to this day. Like you see like a space battle, and it looks incredibly realistic. I would argue even more realistic than the prequels and the sequels. Because you know that's like CGI, but these are like fucking models. Do you know what I mean? These are actual models.
Yeah,
that have been,
yeah.
Which another thing I really liked about Alien, because they actually had like a model of like the Nostromo, and it made it look a lot more real than it actually was. But yeah, the effects are incredible, I have to say, for a 1970s set of films.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think I do in a way. I appreciate
Having like models against a piece of black cloth.
I know that's a bit of a weird thing to appreciate.
Yeah.
But I sort of do, because it's like you say, it's not realistic is perhaps not the right word, but it there's something about the way light hits actual objects.
Yeah.
It just makes it look better in a way.
Do you love spaceship designs?
I wouldn't say I suppose I do actually. Yeah.
Fucking love spaceship designs. I love I love the idea of sort of looking at how a Star Destroyer works, or like even the ships from Star Trek. Like, I love I'm not as big into Star Trek as like you are. I haven't watched it as much as you have, but like just the ships, I'm like really interested in that sort of stuff. So like when you've got actual models that are like really, really cool, and like just you know, I want to know how they work, and I want to know where the crew quarters is and all that. And I think the universe is sort of big enough.
I know exactly what you mean.
To accommodate that, but
yeah, it's there's a lot of good, I mean, especially in Star Trek, there's a lot of good stuff to do with like
the actual design of the ships. Like one of my favourite facts is I think it was the USS Voyager. Designed by somebody that took pieces of old Enterprise kits and tried to just put them together in a different way. As in model kits, as in like stuff that you could buy from a hobby shop, and just put them together in a different way. And it's like, oh, this looks a bit weird. Should we use this?
Yeah.
And then they used that in the show, which I just think that's kind of brilliant.
I really like Voyager.
Voyager is a good one. Janeway is really cool.
Oh yeah, fucking Janeway, man. Honestly, she's in another great show called Orange Is the New Black.
I have heard of it. I've never watched it.
Yeah, it's pretty good, to be fair. For any of you that don't know, it's about sort of it's almost like a sort of massive character study of different women in prisons, and she plays the sort of woman who can get you things, but she's like Russian, so she's like called Red, but it's like because her name's like Raskolnikov or something like that. So she's really good in that. I'd give it a watch, but yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. Have you got any more CRQs?
I have one more, and it's a glowing sort of thing. The soundtrack by Mr. John Williams is absolutely just iconic right away. Just immediately.
It is very, very iconic, yeah.
He must have like completed that and just been like, yep, I've definitely fucking got something here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Finished it and said, right, well, looks like I can retire now. And then he kept cranking out banging soundtracks for years afterwards.
Absolute bops.
One thing I have found with film composers, I'm sure other people have made this observation before me. I'm 100% certain I'm not the first, but composers seem to have a couple of films that they do quite close together, where they compose just straight bangers all the way through.
Yeah.
And then
After that, they seem to drop off a bit. Like Henry Jackman. Do you know Henry Jackman? He did
X-Men First Class, and he did quite a few of the X-Men films actually.
I like X-Men First Class, but I don't know his compositions.
But he did quite a few good films,
Sort of back to back to back, and
the music in X-Men First Class was really good. And after that, he's sort of dropped off a bit. He started doing other stuff, which was good, but not as good.
And Michael Giacchino, who's one of my favourite composers, he did the Star Trek reboot trilogy that came out with Chris Pine in it. And yeah, really good in the first one.
That had a sort of iconic theme, didn't it? I think.
Sorry, I thought you were about to start humming then.
Oh no, I was, but I can't remember what it. Is it all like do?
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
And he did the iconic track was this one called "Enterprising Young Men,"
Which is like considered to be just a straight banger.
Yeah.
by like essentially everybody that listens to it. But then he started doing films where the soundtrack isn't quite as good. That said, I'm fairly sure I'm gonna have to Google this because I'm not 100%. I think Michael Giacchino did The Incredibles, the soundtrack for The Incredibles. Incredibles. Oh, fuck's sake. I hate Googling something when I don't know what to Google.
I mean, that's another fucking banger. Just like, you just know.
Composer. Yeah, it's really good all the way through. Yeah, Michael Giacchino, he did it for them too. He's composed a lot of really good stuff.
I often prefer like, movie soundtracks to like, actual like, songs. If you know what I mean, I'd happily sit and listen to like the Lord of the Rings sort of soundtrack over like, I don't know, fucking Take That or something. Do you know what I mean? Take That's a pretty outdated reference. I don't know. Who's a famous sort of pop singer now?
Well, interestingly, I'm talking about something else now.
Michael Giacchino, he also did Ratatouille, which had a weirdly good soundtrack, and he also did Rogue One. Did that have good music? I haven't seen this.
It did.
I presume you have.
It did. It was like a sort of mix between, you know, the original trilogy, and it had some new stuff in it. So yeah.
He did the Planet of the Apes films with Andy Serkis in them, which were really good. He did Mission Impossible 3, which was good. He did Mission Impossible Fallout. That was really good. The music in that was good. He's doing the Batman with Robert Pattinson.
Ooh.
Okay, I've come full circle. I'm back, and I'm back to being a fan of Michael Giacchino.
God, what a...
He did Spider-Man: Homecoming. That was pretty good. Doctor Strange. That was really good. The music in that was.
I haven't seen Doctor Strange.
Well, it's good.
Is it...
It's
well,
it's.
Go on, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, we're like, on a roll with these like, franchises. Wouldn't you do like the MCU after this?
We'll see you in 30 years.
Yeah.
In the MCU.
Marvel Phase 18.
Now, the thing that I think with Doctor Strange was, you know, when like all those Marvel films were coming out, and then Guardians of the Galaxy came out, and it was just like a breath of fresh air. You were like, oh, finally, a much better film. It's it was like that, but sort of in a sort of bit of a weird, twisted way with Doctor Strange. Mm-hmm. It was really good, and like there was like an interesting bit of a struggle halfway through when the main character was like, well, you want me to kill people, but I am a doctor who's sworn an oath to do no harm and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I can't. I don't want to kill anybody. And it was interesting, and it had some really cool visuals and stuff. But it was still... It had the sort of very distinctive fingerprint of a Marvel film. Of like, oh, okay, it's that... Comes from nothing, goes to everything. That very distinctive fingerprint.
Definitely. Well, I'm gonna need to watch it now.
I see. I'm sorry. I'm carrying on looking at Michael Giacchino's work.
He did Jurassic World,
which had
some really good music. These are all just things on my work playlist that I've
accidentally added to a work playlist without realising this same bloke did them all.
It's the algorithm.
That's the yes,
I've got
the
you.
Spotify algorithm. That's what gets me about the Spotify algorithm. It's like I log into, say, YouTube or Netflix or whatever, and it presents me with a film or a TV show or a video that I don't really have any interest in watching.
Yeah.
But then every morning I turn on Spotify and it says, "Good morning, Mr. Brinkley. I have prepared 6 playlists for you lovingly. They will all be full of songs that you will absolutely love." And it's like, oh, thank you. That's creepy, but thanks. But like, I don't know how Spotify is completely nailing it 6 times over every single day.
and yet Netflix is still trying to get me to watch like documentaries about tennis.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch a documentary about tennis.
Yeah, I mean, you watch like The Crown, and like every fucking Diana documentary gets like thrown at you like a shit dartboard. It's like-
But yeah, God, that's so true. Literally, what you finish watching? Yeah,
Diana, in her own words, the story of Diana. It's like, yeah, okay, we get it. The Crown is good, but I don't want to fucking sit and listen to but like how. I mean, what sort of type of car she get into when she was going to her event? Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But
Oh, right. I've got one last note.
right.
Jedi seems like a cool concept, a bit culty. I like the idea that it's kind of like very peaceful and chilled out as a concept of like you have to try and channel your inner chilled outness, and then you'll be able to move things with your brain.
Yeah.
I like that idea. That's cool. But I also like the idea that it's kind of a bit culty too, and you can kind of get sucked too deeply into it and become Darth Vader. I know that's. I've been harping on about how these films are average, but I do want to say I think that the concept of Jedi is a cool concept. Because it's almost like Knights of the Round Table, sort of bound by honour and sort of we will do what's right.
Yeah,
which is kind of an interesting concept to take to space.
It's very culty. It is, like you know. But we'll get to that. But yeah,
is the cultiness explored in the prequels or something then?
It is to some extent. It's not as explored as I thought it should be. There's a sort of like I don't know, like politicians who have like a sort of code that they're meant to adhere to, but like years of complacency has sort of like withered them a little bit. That's what it's like. It's like they used to stand for this sort of like thing, but their dogmatism has made them very sort of complacent and very sort of, you know, bloated, like the Senate and the Republic, which is another sort of thing. So that's what gives rise to this like, sort of like, almost like a coup, almost of like the Dark Lords and all that. But yeah, there's a great video called "The Case Against the Jedi" by a pop culture detective who's got some really good videos.
Yeah,
so
I think we've spoken about him before on the podcast. He is really good.
Yeah, very very good video. So I'd give that a look. But yeah, it's
yes,
good things to come.
Good things to come, including
but not limited to the prequels and the sequels, all of which are considered to be kind of crap.
Oh yeah, they were. There is no question that all of them are shit, but for different reasons.
And those differences we will pontificate about at great length.
We certainly will. Do you have a closing statement?
I do have a closing statement. A trilogy which, while I can acknowledge had a large impact on a large number of people, perhaps isn't for me personally. Some cool ideas presented in a way that perhaps could be improved.
Excellent. An entire galaxy was started with these films, and there is no denying the complete cultural dominance this franchise has. And while it has some flaws, the mythology is so overwhelming it almost seems like a waste of time to point them out sometimes.
That's accurate, yeah.
So there you go. Well, that was the original trilogy of Star Wars.
Indeed it was.
Whew.
Swatot.
Yeah, yes, it was.
It was Swatot.
It was
It was the Swatot of times. It was the Swatit of times.
I'm trying to like maneuver in a sort of pun about Jedi's and good stuff. I'm not going to do it. I can't be fucked.
No, we can do this. Come on, we can do this.
It's
and goodness and
it's Jedi-tastic.
Oh, that's crap. Jedi. It would be Jedi-ironic if these films were bad. Hey!
Oh my god.
That's not good either, is it?
We should both be killed by the Death Star. But yeah, do we have some shameless capitalist shilling to do?
We have
more shameless capitalism shilling
to do than you will ever admit to. So yes, please do it.
Let's try and make it look quick because I do feel really guilty now. I'm on Instagram at O'Hiram. I'm on Facebook at Daniel K Actor. I'm on Twitter at Kerzo2000. What are you on, Lewis?
I'm on Instagram at Lewis_Brindley. I'm on Twitter at LewisBrindley4. And I have a Facebook page called Lewis Brindley. And also the show has a Facebook page. And now, breaking news, an Instagram page. The Facebook page is Shouting Into the Void. The Instagram page is at Shouting Into the Void Pod. Give us a follow. Give us a like. Send us a message. Write a words on our wall. Do things to our social media. Check us out.
Definitely. We are on Podomatic. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We have a YouTube channel. We're on Deezer. We're on Google Podcasts. We're on Amazon Podcasts. We're everywhere. Give us a look. Find us, please.
And Danny, we have something exciting, very exciting, happening this month, don't we? Would you like to tell the listeners all about it?
No, you tell them.
Okay, this month we have a sponsor.
I don't have a...
I should have a bell or something. We've got a sponsor. Ding, 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 ding. And then that'd be like really good, but we don't have a bell.
Yeah, we don't have a
We
bell.
have a sponsor, which helps us to pay the bills, keep the lights on, all that sort of good stuff. And you will be able to listen to their beautiful... I've heard this advert has won Oscars, Dan. Have you heard the same thing?
Yep, it's right up there with the Sainsbury's World War One advert. It's pretty fucking great.
Yes. What was that advert that won? I can't remember. But anyway, you're going to hear it now. Danny, I've got some amazing news.
Oh, really? What?
I'm going to make you a hat.
Thanks. But why?
Well, because Right Side Yarns, who sell beautiful and unique wool, have recently released a new range.
Oh, I've heard of them. Aren't they that fantastic Scottish business that sells high-quality hand-dyed products perfect for crafting with?
They certainly are, and they're sponsoring the show.
Really? Have they heard the show?
Yes, and apparently they like it. Kezia, the owner of the business, has given us a generous 15% off code for any of our listeners to use.
Is that why you've got Void 15 written in your hand?
It is! If you or any of our listeners would like to use the code, simply enter Void15 at checkout with a capital V.
Great! Where do I check out?
You can go to their website at rightsideyarns.co.uk or check them out on Instagram at Kezia_rightsideyarns.
Fantastic! This hat you're making me better be good.
God, that was good,
Holy
wasn't it?
shit, I've shed tears. I have shed
The world
tears.
debut. The world debut of such an incredible advert as that. I do not have words for this situation.
The world has heard that advert and they've said, yeah, what's next? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, indeed.
But seriously, go give them a wee look. See, they're absolutely fantastic.
Go and take a look. They're a really good company. We're really proud to be sponsored with them.
Definitely. We also have a PayPal donate button, so anything you can spare, anything at all, would be greatly appreciated. We also have Patreon, and we want to thank our wonderful, wonderful, wonderful patrons: Chloe,
Thanks.
Darius,
Thanks.
Sophie,
Thanks.
Peter,
Thanks.
Aditya,
Thanks.
Richard,
Thanks.
and Natalie.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, one and all.
Yes, I've changed it up a bit. I started saying thanks instead of thanks.
Did you? I didn't notice. No, seriously, thanks so much, guys. You really help us keep this madness going. So
you do indeed. We have a lot of things that we absolutely love doing about this podcast, and you allow us to do every single one of those things, and it means the absolute world. And this previous week, Christ, that's not English. Last week. We did a Among Us game for all of our patrons, and we got involved. It was dead good.
It was actually quite
I did
fun.
not get the chance to kill Danny, which is a great shame.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you would like to be a part of our Among Us game, then you can check out our Patreon, see if there's a tier that you'd like to check out, and see what you can do.
Yes, if you would like to get killed by me, please join. We also have merch on Teespring and Redbubble. We have tote bags, t-shirts, jumpers, every little thing. Just go have a look, see what's there, anything that you fancy. And if you don't, great, So there you go.
Indeed.
And last but certainly not least, we are partnered with another amazing company called Number 12 Crochet Avenue. And Lewis is going to say some lovely things about them, all of which are true.
Indeed I am. Number 12 Crochet Avenue is a fantastic company run by my amazing wife, in which she knits. Well, she doesn't knit, she crochets things, and she's really good at it. At the minute, she's crocheting a couple of... I can't actually say what they are because they're for someone's birthday, and I know that said someone does listen to the podcast, so I can't say. But rest assured, these things are superb. Go and check out the Instagram page for assorted updates and beautiful Instagram posts to do with crochet and small business, and go and take a look. That would mean the absolute world to me and also to my cat.
And
so go and take a
me!
look. Thank you. And to Danny, yes, it's at number 12 Crochet Avenue.
Definitely. Well, that's us. So yeah, we're going to be doing the prequels next time. We're going to get into some
Indeed
trade
we are.
embargo news.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, so we will see you, hear you, decimate your entire planet while somehow redeeming ourselves next time.
Indeed we will. We'll see you then. Thank you very much for listening.
Goodbye.